So I'm here with my friend Tony White. Tony and I've known each other for a long time now. It's been more than 10 years. so, but uh, but we're here together and just talking a little bit about some of the things that are going on. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to Tony. So, Tony, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Okay. Tony White. I actually work for Madison County government. I've been in Madison County my entire life. I'm 50 years old this year, and grew up out at Spring Creek. If y'all know where that is, out there out in the country. And my wife, I met her when we were in seventh grade. So now she wasn't my wife in the seventh grade, but
It's
we met in the seventh grade
not
in
that
band.
country.
Yeah, yeah. No. So we have two girls. We have Chloe and Carly. Chloe, she's a senior at Belmont University. So Carly is finishing up her freshman year at UT Martin. It's been a great year for her. She is really excited to get back next year because her year just kind of got messed up. That first year of college was kind of jacked up because of all this coronavirus. So
It's funny is that, you mentioned the coronavirus, and we've talked a little bit, you and I've had some conversations around the idea of the CARES Act that's come out. Just talk a little bit about the CARES Act and what you've seen about it and what's going on in your
yeah.
world.
So, with our meetings with government, yeah, we knew about the CARES Act, when it was first coming out. And that was really important because it had a lot of things for small business loans, that type of thing. So that's what was important to us. It was about keeping the economy going because everything was shutting down. So we're trying to get that information out to people. But also, of course, there's the stimulus checks.
Yeah, if you haven't heard of the CARES Act, if this is the first time you might want to go check your bank account balance because there might be a little surprise for you in there. I was reading the other day that, there are a handful of folks that will, for some reason or another, not get one, but the average American family across the board will get around $3,000.
Yeah.
But to see that, some families or some singles will get a little less than that, some get a little more than that, but across the board, the average is around $3,000. So, when we were talking about this, we were talking about another kind of unknown or lesser known for sure piece of the CARES Act that's unique this year is a this one time allowed contribution in 2020 of up to $300. Now,
That
if you
doesn't even
could
make
glance
sense.
over that.
That doesn't even make sense. I work for local government, and so I deal with state government, federal government, and everything. And there's no way on purpose they did that.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
weird to have a average person getting $3,000, and
yeah,
Scripture teaches the principle of the tithe or the tenth or the first
yeah,
fruits, and this 10% of $3,000 is $300, and they allow a one-time in 2020 deduction. Now, I know it's a little weird for folks because we were talking about this about the average person doesn't really know that much about how their deductions are made. They don't know that much about how all this stuff plays out. But 97% of Americans today, almost 98%, don't itemize their deductions because in
right.
2017 they've raised that number so high that
That's
the
right.
average person goes, "That's less than I give." What's interesting about this one is that above the line thing. We talked about.
Hmm.
Um, Tell me, do you know a little bit about just how that above the line works?
Well, we got some notes. I'm going to look because I had to. That was all kind of new information right there. So that means to you is that if you were to give up 300 of the stimulus money that you're receiving, it's tax deductible no matter how you file your taxes. So that's even tax deductible, and I just found that just really very interesting too, that was allowed because they're already giving you the deductions, the standard, and then they're giving that above and beyond another $300. And that's what I'm saying. That just doesn't even seem like that's what government does. So
No.
sometimes, us as followers, we have got to always keep our eye on kind of what God is doing. And we got to recognize that when he's working, he's working. He's got a plan. And it is so good when you can go, wow, God is working right here in this CARES Act. And he's caring for businesses, he's caring for families, he's caring for people that are going to church. And he is helping the government right here is helping people take their next step to being obedient. And this is next step being obedient in a giving sense. That
Yeah.
who knew that's what was going on when the CARES Act was being written?
Well, I promise you, Washington didn't.
No.
Um, but that's so. Just to summarize, that is
Yeah.
super powerful. So just to summarize, the government gives people $3,000, average family $3,000.
Mm, that's
Then
right.
the government allows you to give $300 of. You can give it of the $3,000. So they basically provided in the CARES Act a way for people to tithe on their deduction, and they gave them the money and then said, here, you can pass along $300 of this
Mhm,
to your church or to an organization like a
mhm.
church. And then you can, and no matter, even if you don't itemize your deductions in 2020, it's tax deductible. So it's
Right.
kind of like, I mean, we were talking about this, it's kind of like God through the government is going, like, making good Malachi 3:10, like, to bring all the tithes into the storehouse and see if I don't open up the window. I mean, he's going, here, I'll give you the money, then let you tithe on it. You get to keep 90%.
Mhm.
And it's like God's through the government daring Christians to tithe.
That's right.
Like, it's huge.
That's right. That's
So,
right.
anyways, speaking to Journey, speaking to our folks, in the end, man, we would love to see folks partner with us to help people take their next step. You take your next step, helps people take their next step. And man, it would be what I could imagine and dream of what we could accomplish together if 100 people, if a
That's
hundred
right.
people said, yeah, I want to take my next step with this $300. That's a game changer for a church like us.
That's something that my family does. Do it once a month. It's the first thing that happens. It just comes out, and over the years that we've done that, um, it's just expected. It's going out, and you really don't even pay any attention to it. If you make that step to just give um, every week or every month, but consistently, and God's got a way of kind of working with you, and um, He's going to provide for you.
It's good. Well, man, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you folks watching, and hope that kind of as a summary of this, God through the government daring people to be faithful with the money He literally gave us through our government. It's just mind blowing. But you can, if you want to participate in that through Journey, you can go to ourjourney.com and click on Give Online, and we'd love to see that happen. Not just to keep things going, but to help us help people take their next step towards Jesus.
Mm,
So
right.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jeremy.